Good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you might be on this Friday. Thank God. Is Monday a holiday?
It's Monday, Labor Day. We don't even know if we're on holiday. We're so committed to our work that we don't take time off. How about that?
When is Labor Day? It is September 6th. So no, it's
It's the week after that. So this Monday, we're back working, apparently.
Yeah.
Not that we ever stop working. Me and JP have a weird schedule. If you ever join our team, you'll find out.
Monday is the 30th. Oh, Monday is my dad's birthday. I should probably give him a call.
That is not a good way to remember your dad's birthday.
Well, I remember it because it's the day after my son's birthday.
Oh, there you go. Party after party. Like it.
Which reminds me that I think that means there will be a bunch of people at my house this weekend.
All masked up, I hope.
Yeah, and my house is a mess. I'll have to clean it up.
Did you manage to get your wall repaired? Sorry, the ceiling.
No, so the ceiling is still an open concept.
It's a new design. It's a new design. It's a trend. It's a trend. You know, if you go to New York and the trendy houses now, they don't have any ceilings. It's like holes.
Good morning, Rocket Man. XXX Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Trooper is here.
Trooper. Yeah, good morning. No, we still have a hole, but the floor is at least now dry. They had to come in and take up some tile, and they pulled up some tile, and they... what else did they do?
You can do laundry now, right?
Yes, we can do laundry now. That's the big advantage.
And you can use your water because it's been a water adventure for you this past few weeks, right?
So I know we've talked about this in the past, but there's a tank and a pump in our front yard because the way our house is on a hill, we have to pump the wastewater up the hill to get it to the sewer, right?
Yeah.
So all the wastewater from the house, the showers, the toilets, the dishwasher, the sinks, whatever, it all goes to this tank in the front yard, and then the tank has a pump, and the pump pumps it up. So when we first moved here, that thing got clogged like three times in a row within like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had flushed socks down the toilet, and the socks got caught up in the pump, and it blocked it.
What is with you and socks in the toilet?
I don't know. So anyway, I have no idea. So last week, I hear my wife, she's upstairs, she's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, what? And she said, I had a stack of clothes I was taking upstairs. One of the kids was in the tub, so I put the clothes on the back of the toilet to get them out of the tub. Well, one of the socks fell in, and it was like already flushing. It was too late. So we kind of knew, we're like, oh boy, they're going to, like, this is going to happen. We're going to get another sock stuck in there, and sure enough, we did. So it was, I don't know, I think it was Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, and I agree, Bolt. And sure enough, my neighbor texts us and he says, "Hey, your pump alarm is going off in your front yard." I'm like, "Oh, great." So this time I was like, we called the place and they're like, "We probably won't be there today. We might not be able to come out till the morning." So we're like, "Oh my God, like we don't have any water. We can't do laundry anyway because there's these fans running with to dry out the floor." I mean, it's just all this just drama, you know. And so I told Kristen, I said, "Look," I said, "why don't we just go do it?" I said, "I got a meeting in half an hour. All we got to do is pull it up, pull the sock out. What could go wrong? We've got plenty of masks." So we're like, okay, let's do this, right? So you go outside, there's a big green tank. You take all the bolts off of the top, and then you open it up, and there's the pump, along with a big vat of wastewater from your house, which doesn't smell very good. Even through a mask and through a second mask, it still was absolutely awful and miserable. But we did manage to get the pump, and the pump is quite big and heavy. Mm-hmm. So we picked up the pump. We got the pump out of the tub, like out of the tank. We got it on the yard, and at the bottom of it, I mean, it's basically like a blade at the bottom in a housing. So the blade spins, or maybe the housing spins and the blade is fixed. I don't really know. But sure enough, there's the socks. We yank on the sock, whatever. We finally get the sock out, but there's all sorts of little bits all chewed up in there. But I thought, well, it moves a little bit, so let me go try to flip the switch and turn it back on and get it to run again. Well, It didn't do anything.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, look, I got a meeting, I got to go. So we just left it in the front yard, hoping the people would come. And they did. They actually ended up. So we had this pump open with a vat in the front yard open, and they actually did end up coming that afternoon, which was great. And they got the rest of it out, and so we could start using our water again. So I learned a new talent or a new skill. And he was like, you know, he's like, I don't know what they pay you there, but if you ever need a job, you should give us a call. No, absolutely not. Under no circumstances could I do this every day. Like, it's just too. I mean, if it was a pump of other kinds of water, it would be fine. But it's not. I mean, it's wastewater, and it smells like death.
It does. Well, it's
and it's 90-some degrees in the heat here. I mean, it's as bad as you would imagine. We'll say that much, right?
Yeah.
So there is an alarm on it. There is a bright red flashing light. Right now, my IoT solution is my neighbor texts us if we don't hear it. But there is a big control panel. It probably would not be that difficult to tap into the alarm circuit and with a Raspberry Pi or something small and have it send a, ping and alert, say, hey, this is going on.
Oh, there you go. Science.
If it gets up too high, it covers the pipe that the water comes in from, and then of course it all comes back into the house, which is
awful. You don't want that.
Absolutely awful. So anyway,
you want to catch that long before it hits that level.
Yeah, it's been kind of a long. It's been a
I
long.
like Tripper's idea where you have a maintenance access fitting pipe at second stage, where it's before your actual pump. Although if that gets clogged, then that's gonna be an issue, right? So
I wonder if I could put some kind of a trap there.
Yeah, something like that, right? Warning you are in a.
Yeah, that's about
the best
right.
Messages. But that would be a nice implementation. I know that other people have that for other kind of tanks. Like I remember Clint Lars from Australia, because he lives in the outback. He's out in quite a rural place, and he's got a lot of his own kind of DIY systems. He's using Raspberry Pis all over the place to control access levels on many things. So that could be an idea.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then you feed everything into Azure IoT, and then you get some kind of a messaging system to notify you. I can see a project.
So it smells like one. It smells like a project.
You and your pans. You and your pans.
Oh, well.
News? Do you have any news today?
So there were a few pieces of news.
Good news, bad news. We have quite a few news, right?
News of all types.
Yes.
If you have, so we'll start with the bad news first.
Very bad
if
news.
you are, and Rocket Man on your note, it's a grinder pump, so like it grinds up the stuff that's in there.
Unless it's a sock.
And because the elastic stuff in the sock gets all wrapped around it. So I don't know. Like, I wish there was an alternative. Honestly, my best alternative is to move away.
Yeah.
Because if I had known that was what this thing it was when I moved in, we probably wouldn't have bought this house.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that would be a deal breaker if you knew before that?
Well, I think like we got to get a generator installed and stuff, because if we lose power because of the weather,
that's a good point.
Even if we have water, we can't use it because we have to put it somewhere. You know what I mean?
Knowing you as a gadget person, I'm surprised they haven't hooked up a generator already into your main power system.
Well, I was looking at like cheap gas-powered ones. I didn't really like it. I wanted to get a whole home one. Yeah, I just haven't done it yet.
Oh,
the thing is,
what's the cost?
You can get
500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000?
So the one I found was 22 kilowatts, and it was about
what? 22 kilowatts?
It was like 4,400, 4,500 bucks on Amazon, amazingly, which I'm like, I don't even know how they're going to ship that, but it was Prime, so I guess I don't have to pay for shipping. I don't know exactly how that works, but guy with a forklift shows up. I don't know, but then it's like you have to get somebody's got to come pour a concrete pad, and they've got to obviously do all the wiring and stuff. And finding people to do that kind of work is very difficult.
Yeah. You can pour cement. It's not hard. Foundation cement should be easy.
Well, what we'll do is we'll do a weekend show, and you can walk me through how to pour cement because I have no idea how to do it.
Really? I worked in construction. Pouring cement was the best part. Making the cement and then pouring it was a lot of fun.
Like our very own Chris Maloney.
Oh, yes. Bold is right. We said we're going to start doing shows on location. So we could do one, which is over with a weekend. I'll take the 4 to 5 tour bus, drive all the way down there, barbecue and cement.
Kids, hang on, kids. We can't use the bathroom in the house, but you can use the one in the bus.
Hey, I'm telling you, my wife definitely wants, an RV or something. It's like it's hard to convince her not to, but it's not happening.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
Well, the plan was like if COVID continues like that, we might as well, and school is remote, right? We might as well just take the RV and tour the US while we are, educating in the morning and then living on location in the afternoon. How would they even know? Yeah.
Yeah. And like Bolt says, a Breaking Bad style RV, you'd have a second income stream.
Yes. Kids don't go in the back. Kids don't go in the back unless you wear your mask, please. Put this.
There's like a false wall. Like, Christos, that RV is huge, but you have such a small space in here. What's behind this door? Oh,
storage. It's just storage.
Storage. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, RV style. Yeah, exactly. Breaking Bad. Man, that was one of the best shows. I was reading the other day that the car that they chose for what was his name? Walter. The car they chose for Walter was the most unsuccessful car in the U.S. industry. So I think it was a Dodge something, wasn't it?
It was a Pontiac Aztec.
Exactly. And because it had the lowest sales ever, they wanted to give him one of the most loser car and characteristics that they could find. That was the car they chose. It just goes to show.
I mean, it is an awful car. I mean, it has like a weird cult following now. But the other one, I think, actually what we should do is you need to build like an RV out of a PT Loser. I absolutely, I'm all for people buying cars, and I like cars, but the PT Loser is probably one of the worst. Mm-hmm. One of the worst cars I've ever seen. So, anyway.
Right. What? The news. Tell the news.
So there were a few pieces of news. There's a hurricane coming to the southeastern United States, which is absolutely awful because it's going to hit Louisiana. And Louisiana, like half of Louisiana, is already under sea level, which is awful. So think about those people this weekend, as that hurricane gets closer, because it's looking pretty good, like it's going to go over that way. The whole thing's just awful. The big news I saw, the big bad news I guess I saw this week was that a Cosmos DB vulnerability via Jupyter Notebooks was found.
Yes.
It's been fixed, but the short version is stop. If you have Cosmos DB, you need to go rotate your primary and secondary keys.
Yeah.
The research group that found it called themselves, they call the vulnerability Chaos DB. We can get a link up for the chat, but doesn't look like any customer data was actually accessed outside of the researchers, which is great. That's what Corp's saying anyway. But if you have Cosmos DB, you definitely want to rotate those keys just to be safe.
And if you're using keys still, you should be moving to the latest Azure SDK with support for mass identities.
Yeah, getting away from keys would be even better.
Which we now support fully, right? Yeah.
I don't know if that would have. I don't know if that. I think the keys were still there and they still worked. I don't think it disables the keys.
The keys are still there. You're absolutely right. You cannot disable the keys. But it is unfortunate that this vulnerability existed, and we hope that you can rotate your keys as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Let's see. In good news, F1 is back after the summer hiatus, which is fun. So
yes.
One's back and it's at one of my favorite tracks, which is Spa. So
I really look forward for FY22, to be honest. With all the rule changes, I think FY22 will be more fun than FY21.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's not FY. It's like F121. How do you call the year? F121. Formula 121. There you go.
F121. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Thanks for the follow, friends.
Personally.
Yeah. F1 is
Although
back, which is exciting.
I don't have a television upstairs anymore. That's a 7-year-old.
Watch it on your phone.
So I'm gonna have to watch it on my phone. So,
yeah.
But that's okay. At least the phone is big, right? And it does the foldy thing, so it opens up. So
true.
The only thing the thing about the foldy phone stuff though, is when you fold the phone, if you're watching like normal movie or TV content that's made for 16:9, you just end up with black bars. Like, I watched a movie the other day that's in 4:3, Grand Budapest Hotel, which is probably one of the best movies ever made. The bulk of that movie is in 4:3, and it looks great because it fills the whole screen. But like, unless you're watching like 20-year-old Top Gear episodes or like old Simpsons episodes, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of strange. But anyway,
talking of Top Gear, did you watch the last their last special on Amazon? There's
I haven't watched it yet.
There's one new episode about being stranded with COVID and all that. It was fun.
I have been watching Clarkson's Farm, which I found pretty entertaining.
It was entertaining and sad at the same time, seeing him struggle and realizing how hard it is. Yeah, lockdown. You're absolutely right. Your video is lagging behind your voice approximately half a second to a second. JP, I like how you commented on the lag yesterday, and now we're struggling. No, you commented on the lag before we started the show.
Let me try one thing.
Okay.
I'll see if I
Maybe he's lip syncing. Yeah, we pre-recorded this. And now this is live, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's 11:17. Absolutely 11:17. What are you talking about? Of course it is.
God. TypeScript 4.4 is out, but if you actually open your screen, man, I am actually lagging quite a bit.
I know, I'm looking at you now, and it is starting to lag. I don't know why.
I think it's my internet connection. I need to restart my machine somehow, because since yesterday it says connection. Oh, that's much better, says Bolt. Cool. TypeScript 4.4 is out. Go and upgrade your TypeScript. And if JP wants to share his screen, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but GitHub has introduced some pretty nifty capabilities with code spaces.
Okay.
Are you sharing?
Where am I going?
Well, go into one GitHub repo and then press dot or change the URL to be.dev. It will work.
Yeah, because we were looking at that on Tuesday with your the voice stuff that you built, right?
Oh, did we? Oh, yeah, we demoed that. Sorry, I forgot about that. I got too excited about it, and then
it's okay. It is super cool. So
we'll continue showing it on every stream for the next 3 months.
We'll just start using it. Yeah, Azure Voice. So the cool thing, though, I think one of the things we talked about was how we'd like to do code tours, right?
Yes.
And so if we took a code tour, we could
did you manage to fix that? Did you manage to fix it? The dependencies?
The extensions.json?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Did we fix it? I don't remember if we fixed it or not.
I remember we were working on that. I can't remember what the end was. Oh, we said we're going to work on that offline.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We did. And then I had
so many promises, so little deliveries.
I know. So you couldn't hit period here, but what's cool is you can change it to github.dev.
Yes.
Everything, the same URL, organization, user, path, whatever, the whole thing, just change it to github.dev, which is actually really cool for links. Like if you're linking in a blog post to something.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. Now I do have a question, Christos. Mm-hmm. So this is this isn't the best one to use because it has a reliance on microphones and all that sort of stuff. Let's just go open like a web one that we've got, right?
Okay.
So if we take something like the Hello World web, which I'm pretty sure is quite literally Hello World with web.
With potential vulnerabilities, I like it.
So if we took this, if I control tilde, terminals are not available. Okay. If I was to go to like a run and debug, if I run this, could not find a task for build. Okay, well let's configure. Okay, so there's our build, .net, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all that's good. So if I hit F5, couldn't find the task for build. That's
save.
weird.
You save? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a launch in here.
Mm-hmm.
And tasks. And we've got a build task.
Yeah.
So can you not run from code spaces? It's kind of
you should.
I mean,
you should.
It
No,
is
you should map it.
Yeah, that's what I thought it did. Maybe I must be doing something wrong.
Debug anyway. What happens if we press?
Oh, we need an extension.
There you go.
That must be why. Okay, so if we install this, oh my, Peach Pie for Visual Studio Code. It's a PHP compiler. So can we not get a .NET debugger in here?
Search for .NET maybe. Oh, there you go. C#.
Let's see what. Well, the C# extension is not available in VS Code Web.
So is it only for looking at the code but not running it? No, you're supposed to be debugging stuff, right? You're supposed to be able to debug.
Well, we can edit it and stuff. Well, what if we did a front end app, like something that was just all client side? Maybe that would work.
You got a React one, right? Maybe in your repo.
Yeah, let's go over there and look.
But that's lame though. If you can't run .NET, then I think we're doing something wrong.
It's probably an us issue, I would assume.
Because there are two ways to do that. One is to actually open and browse, and then the other one is if you don't click anything yet. If you click on code, it will open a code space. I don't think this is opening a full-blown code space.
I wonder if that's it. Yeah,
I think this is just for reviewing and doing small edits, but it's not for running and debugging code. You have to actually open it in a code space, which is actually a VM behind the scenes that has all the dependencies installed, including the runtime.
So how would I do like an npm install or anything here? I guess I couldn't. I don't know.
Because you can't even open the terminal, right? Remember it said a terminal is not available, correct? Yeah,
so let's see. So you can install a Python debugger. Only works with local file paths. But most of these others do not look available.
Are disabled. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do what you just said though. Let's go back to Hello World, to our helloworld.net sample.
Yep.
Which was here. And then you said, let's do it in code spaces. Okay. And yeah, then you have to create a new code space, which I think takes a little while, right?
Not too long. It's fairly fast these days. There you go. Connecting. It literally takes seconds.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty fast. Oh, and there's our terminal.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this would work. So I can do like a .NET run here, for example. .NET earn.
Earn.
Oh, it's still doing something. Hang on.
Running post-create commands. I like how it's asynchronous. And, oh, look at that. It's installing everything that you need to debug.
But this is... Because right now, CodeSpaces is available for teams and like enterprise plans.
Enterprise,
right? Like,
yes, that's right.
If you're an individual, I don't think they yet have the pricing nailed down for that yet. So right now, if you're an individual, it's still free. All right. So, okay. So if I run this now, though, however, if we do like a .NET run, then I would get a URL, presumably the same URL as my code space, right?
Correct. It does some kind of a mapping for you.
Your application running on, okay, so open in browser, and it takes me to, oh, interesting. So it has to authenticate you first, and then it redirects to localhost, which is, I mean, the auth stuff is probably going to be hard to sort out here. Although we'd probably only need to add the we'd probably need to add the GitHub generated.
So you need to go back and find the URL for the mapping. So if you open your ports, go to the ports tab. Now click on the actual port. It only runs there. It doesn't run on localhost 5000. So you actually need to copy that URL and paste into your browser and not redirect. It should not be redirected.
Well, but we have to update our app registration so that we don't get redirected.
Correct.
Anyway, right?
That is right. Yeah.
So we'd have to update our app registration in order to switch so that it doesn't. So that when the auth request happens, it sends it to that with that reply URL, so that Azure AD redirects us back to the correct place.
And we talked about creating an extension that would actually do it automatically for you, because otherwise you have to, every time you spin up a new code space, and I don't know how persistent those local addresses are, if they persist with the code space or if you shut it down and start it again, it creates issues. But being able to go from an extension and say, add this URL to my app registration.
Yeah, something tells me that this is probably not going to be consistent.
But it might be consistent for the code space, because remember, once you create a code space, it's persistent and you can reuse it across multiple repositories. Right. The question will be how persistent that unique identifier is.
So I last used this one 7 months ago. I wonder.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can only have so many too, right? So if I tried to create a new one.
Yeah, you have a limit on the number of that. And
let's see if it lets me do it.
Every user will have a different redirect URL. That's absolutely right. So if I go into that same repo, if I'm a maintainer, then if I spin up a code space, it will be under my name, I suspect, and then it will only give me a unique identifier for my space. Max.den.web, what is that? Oh, that's our...
Yeah. Okay, so I can have more than one, I guess, which is nice, but... And you're right, I would assume the thing stays the same. The URL stays the same until you kill the
code space.
The code
until
space
you delete
itself.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool.
So that persistence is good, because it means that on any machine that you pick it up, if you run inside the code space, it will be consistent.
Yeah.
Needs to be tested though. That's an assumption right now.
But like you and Bolt said too, like every user is going to have a different one, which is kind of a pain. It'd be nice to make it kind of temporary, you know.
That's why you need an extension. Is there a limit on how many redirect URLs you can have on an app registration?
Yeah, there is. It's
maybe 100.
I think it's an overall size, but it is not enormous, but it's not minor.
What? So APIs for B2C won't need to be deployed and easily tested? What? Where did that come from? Bolt, are you messing with us?
I think so. Anyway, so a couple other small things, then we're gonna get into a little bit of meat today. So, wait, what are you talking about, Bolt?
That's what I'm saying. He's messing with us.
Because the API is on the web and B2C can't see localhost. Oh, that's true. So yeah, compared to doing like ngrok or something, having your API be available on the web.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
that's a great idea, actually. No more need for ngrok, although ngrok is an awesome tool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you seeing yourself switching to using code spaces more than your local machine for development? Like, do you think that will become the new norm? Rather than installing tools locally, you'll go, well, I can spin up the code space and start working there.
Maybe. I mean, it's kind of an extension of the old dev VMs that we used to have, right? You have all your tools on your dev VM and you do it from wherever. But I've never really liked using dev VMs unless I had to install something that I wasn't going to use a lot.
Correct. I mean, it will definitely keep your machine clean. The question is, I mean, if you have a project and I have a project, if we have a project that we're working consistently and you say, Chris, can you look at this? I can go to code spaces and spin up the project and run it without having to download dependencies and everything, which is great. Especially if it's like, hey, I'm working on Flutter right now and I don't have Flutter installed on my machine, although I don't know how you can do mobile, I'm just saying. It would be nice to see how that works, especially for larger teams. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, I think the thing, like one of the hardest parts of modern software development is getting all the tools in the right places.
Yes.
Having the right version of the tool for the right thing that you're using, and which tool you should use, and 90% of it is setting up your environment. And so in that way, I think that is, from that perspective, it'd be super helpful.
Yeah. Onboarding new developers will be super easy as well, right?
But yeah, I think like you said though, like if you want to do stuff with mobile, anything. Or like the voice thing we were doing the other day with the microphone and all that, like stuff that isn't like traditional web or console. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how applicable that'll be. Like desktop development. How are you going to do desktop development on that or Electron? Can you even spin up an Electron?
Does anybody do desktop development anymore? I'm sure somebody does. I don't want to be mean, but the only desktop app I've written in the last 10 years was the one we did 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago to steal our calendar data from my local machine.
Which, talking about calendar, it's a great segue to what you want to talk about next, right?
Oh, that's true. So, Stefan NL in Discord.
You need to zoom in.
I believe my assumption is that Stefan watched our show where we went through all of our circus tricks and stupid token tricks of stealing refresh tokens and doing all that, which was an absolute blast, by the way. And in a far more pragmatic sense, said, well, just take your ICS and put it into a different tenant and then call the other tenant. And I was like, oh, that actually does sound like a good idea. So now I'm curious as to whether or not we can do that. So here's a different tenant. So this is like my private tenant, right? So we're full control here. We do whatever we want.
Yep.
So apparently in Outlook, you can add a shared calendar. Let's see. So add a calendar.
From a URL, is it? Subscribe from the web?
Subscribe from web, okay. And the thing, it's at aka.ms 425 show ICS. Although I don't know if it doesn't look like it's going to resolve that. So let me go get the actual URL. Because at least the actual URL doesn't change, right? Let's go get the actual URL, and we'll see if this works. And if it does, then maybe we just do that. Maybe that is easier than all of the silliness that all the hoops we've been jumping through to try to make this work.
Yeah.
So let's see. Where does this send us? This sends us here. So let's take this URL and see if what Stefan said is true. All right. So we'll call this 425 show event calendar. Make it pink.
Lovely. My daughters will love it. Yeah.
And then let's see, what kind of logo should we use?
Checklist. Second from the end. Oh, target. I like the target.
Okay. And we'll add this to, I guess, other calendars. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Import.
Moment of truth.
But it says any edits the author of the calendar makes will be updated automatically.
Oh.
So, okay. Oh, so here it is. Look at that. And they do have the little target on them. Huh. So then presumably, if we go over to Graph Explorer,
then you can access it through your new tenant.
Then we should be able to connect to this tenant and access it that way.
Are you already connected? It seems that your picture is correct. Calendar.
So go to calendars and let's see. So there's so many disclaimers and warnings. I can't even see the stuff.
And you know what? I hate the fact that once you dismiss them once, they come back over and over and over again. Yeah.
So here's our 425 show event calendar. So calendars and then that ID. We're running out of screen real estate here. Yeah, there it is. Cool.
Oh.
So
all that effort, all that work for naught.
So while not super exciting per se, it is far more pragmatic, most likely, especially since it stays up to date. So let's do a start date of 2021. What's today? 08/27.
08/27.
And we'll do an end date of 2021 12
09/13. Oh, 12. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Is it? You need a question mark. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that. Can I get cards out of this? No. Response. Yeah, there it is. So okay. Oh wait. No.
Ooh. Light pink. Is your query slightly wrong?
I thought my query is wrong. I thought it was an extra. I thought it was a path. Calendar view. Oh wait, it probably is calendar view question. Let's try that. No, requires a time window specified by query string parameter start date time. So
start date time.
Time.
And is it expecting a time as well in the parameter? Let's see.
Nope. It can parse it, so that's good.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Maybe now you can get cards. Look at the adaptive cards. Are you getting anything?
Adaptive cards? No.
Nah.
Lame. So we got our code snippet.
Stefan
That's
says
cool.
under events. Ooh, no. We're still having access on the calendar. Why would it be events? To get the individual events?
All right, let me save this query. Hold up. I mean, this is
Well,
the same.
that solves a lot of problems.
It's the same query we did the other day.
Yeah.
Only with a different thing. So if that means if I was to go to events, where does the events path take me?
Well, it needs to have access to it needs to know which calendar it's looking at, right?
Yeah, so let's see if we got any sample queries.
All events in my calendar.
In my calendar. I don't want my calendar.
No.
My events for the next week.
Well, maybe you can pass the calendar ID there.
Me calendar view. So that's just like a shortcut, I guess, to use my calendar.
Okay.
Track. Me calendar view delta. No.
I think your query returns events, in other words.
That's groups.
Yeah.
But yeah, my query does bring back events, which is great. So
yeah.
Is there an events path? I didn't think there was an events path.
I think it's under, no, it says bad request.
So calendars, yeah, calendars is a bad request.
You need me, right? You need to say me before you say calendars, right?
Well, okay, so hang on though. How would we do that with an application permission?
Aha.
What is the calendars? Let's see, graph docs. How do you access the calendar? Here we go, calendar and mail. I love how that's not clickable. Ugh.
You need to get there.
Get shared events.
Yeah.
You get directly from the calendar owner's mailbox. So I have to do user's calendar? Come on. User. Now there's got to be some sort of an org calendar. So these all key off of a user. So
yeah.
Users. This is still keying off of users.
Me calendars. The calendar API. There you go. What is that?
Calendar.
List calendar.
We can get a calendar.
Get all of the users' calendars. That's not good.
Get the occurrences, exceptions, and single instances of events in a calendar view defined by time range, which is ultimately what we want.
But it says me. Oh, unless you change the calendar ID.
So
application.
Calendars, so calendars.read an application will do it, but that's still me. So I guess I'd have to do users me because it's my shared calendar.
And then get the calendar ID.
Yeah, there might be a better way to. Maybe there's a better way to do it.
Oh, there you go. Get a user's calendar in the default calendar group. It says users ID, calendars ID. The one above. That's the one that you need, right?
Oh, I wonder if it's in a calendar group. I don't know what the hell a calendar group is, but.
Interesting. Okay.
A calendar group is a group of user calendars.
So that's not going to return you the calendar. It will return you a list of calendars. Doing this via web. What security issues does this cause? Can people jump in externally info in orgs environments? Trooper says.
So let's start here. So if I start with myself, so this is I'm thinking of like an application query, right? Oh, I don't need to do a post. I need to do a get. So if we were to do, it's users and then me and then my calendars, this would get my calendars back, right?
Go into the response. Oh, okay, it's expanded.
So these are my calendars, right?
Yes.
So then I would just need an ID of said calendar in order to get this essentially the same thing, right? So this is accessing a shared calendar of mine.
Yeah.
Sorry. This isn't a shared calendar. This is a calendar from the web. This isn't available to everybody in my org. This is only available to me in my org because added it to my
you imported
mailbox.
it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is not a shared calendar. This is just a calendar, right? So Trooper says if you can see a calendar via the web, would it open up things to that external person?
Yeah, I mean, if you put private, like internal events on a shared calendar, then that's a security breach. But you're causing it by adding data to that you shouldn't be.
Now, the thing that we have, this ICS that we're using to feed this data, we explicitly had to say, create an ICS for this calendar. Like, we set it as a shared public calendar.
Yeah.
That's how we got the ICS to be able to import this in here.
But any data that you put in that ICS, it is available to everyone. So if me and JP were to put our reward discussion meetings with our manager on that calendar, everybody would see it.
Yep. So, which maybe we should start putting those on that calendar so people would know how grumpy or not we were.
Crowdsource. Well, you know what? People can jump in and give their feedback. JP and Chris are doing a great job. You should give them a reward, a better reward. They deserve a raise, or they don't deserve a raise. They're Muppets. So like, let's see. No, by default, a shared calendar or any calendar in Exchange is limited to the owner. You have to explicitly create a shared calendar and give people permission to it. So like the 425 show calendar that we have at work is only available to our team. Other people outside of our team internally can't get to it. Separately, separately, we published the calendar. So like in Outlook, there you can do what's called sharing and permissions, and you can share it with people explicitly here. There's also a way to share it on the web. Oh, dude, Bolt added an event to our calendar.
What?
That's interesting. Yeah, he said that he was able to add an event.
Wait a minute.
Is it visible?
How did you access the thing, though?
I think he added the ICS onto his own Outlook, but he imported the ICS.
Well, if you import the ICS, that's a one-time, or that's an import that happens into your environment.
I see.
But it would not write back to the upstream calendar. It would be essentially it's synced. Okay, hang on.
When did you add it? When's the event? Bolt, what's the date?
All right, let me get my calendar up. Hang on. Let me get the shared calendar up for this.
So it's just like an ICS meeting invite. For today, it's for today after the show. Interesting.
I don't see it yet.
It's not syncing. Can you sync?
He should.
Can you force a sync?
If you can sync, then we have a much larger problem.
Yeah, it might be only downstream sync. You're right, Bolt. Maybe it's a local copy of that ICS, but you can't push back.
That would be my suspicion, is that you can make local, because otherwise you'd have to have an account in our corporate directory with permission to write to that calendar. Which I can't, unless somebody's given it to you, but...
About to spit out that coffee. Yeah, so the security team will be having a blast right now. Hey, by the way, you know that Cosmos bag? Forget about it. We got a better one for you guys too.
Okay.
So Naruk XGE saying, "Hi guys, can you rate my setup? What is your setup? Tell us. Happy to rate hardware, software setup."
I don't know if that's I don't know
what kind of setup it is, but it's a link. It's on Discord.
I think we might be about to get set up.
Click on this link and give us all your bank information.
You should. I think you should open that. You should open that link privately before.
I will open it in my Sandbox. If you haven't used Sandbox, by the way,
we get Windows Sandbox up, and we'll open it in there.
I am putting it in Sandbox. Oh my God! You know what? The Sandbox is actually inheriting from the underlying system, so it's a brand new Windows 11 installation, which is beautiful.
Nice.
Right, I'm clicking on the link now.
So it's an image from Discord somewhere.
It's a legit picture.
Okay.
It's a legit picture.
Is it safe for work?
It is very safe for work. I would say open it.
Okay.
You want to zoom in, and you're using Sandbox as well. So I am surprised because his setup looks very similar to my setup. So I have the exact same vertical on my right. I have a middle screen that is wider, and then my third monitor is at the top. I like it. It's nice and clean. I've got the exact same headphones or speakers, whatever you call them. So there they are, if you can see them. So great minds think alike. And I think your keyboard is custom. Is it? I'm using a drop. What kind of keyboard do you have? What kind of keyboard do you have? If it's a drop, then I'm in my house. Oh, it's a Daki one. Okay, Daki 1 2 Mini. I have a Mini as well. Not as nice as the keys are not as nice as yours, but I do have some additional keys I'm going to be using soon. So.
What's your score?
Your score? I think it's a 9.
Out of
out of 100. No, man, out of 10. How many keys?
It's gonna be like the We Rate Dogs, Twitter account. It's a 14 out of 10. I like it.
It's good.
I can't get down with the vertical monitor. I've tried that before, and it just never.
It's getting used to it. It's getting used to it, actually. I like it, but it's only for certain apps, like email and Twitter. It's usually where that lives, and it's permanently there. Everything else doesn't work on that vertical monitor. I can do coding on that, but then again, my vertical is not high res, so it's only 920 by 1080, and that means I cannot. Oh, he's using it for Spotify. Interesting. Okay.
So what do you put on the different ones? I'm always curious what people have on their different monitors.
I have meetings up at the top, so you can sync with my eyesight, and then down here I have most of my work, like email and Word or PowerPoint or whatever it is, and usually my code goes up on the extra monitor as well, on the third one. Yeah, so the main in front of me is usually the day-to-day stuff. Coding is at the top, and comms like Discord and Twitter is on the vertical.
What are those speakers? Do they have like a subwoofer with them, or are they just speakers?
Nah, they're just speakers. It's when I get tired from the headphones and I want to just have the sound open.
That keyboard feels very it looks very small. Maybe it's just like on the desk, but it looks like it'd be very. Like, granted, I have these huge sausage fingers, so.
That's mine. Same.
Yeah.
Very small. No numeric keypad.
I was gonna say yours has a keypad. This one this one does not have a keypad.
Oh, it doesn't have a keypad. It has the up, down, insert, home, end. Oh yeah, he's smaller than mine. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Or his hair.
Like
sorry for the assumption.
I do like the lights.
Yes.
I like the lighting. I like the light in the mouse. Now I'm like self-conscious about mine. People would.
Oh, dude, I'm on blue switches. I am extremely noisy. My blue switches. Naruk has brown switches, which are subtle. I'm with blue switches. Bring the noise.
Yeah, see, I just use like a crappy, not crappy, but just like one of these things. You know?
You need to elevate your game. You're a streamer now, my friend. You can't just be like that.
But nobody sees my keyboard, and I need the split. Because if I don't have the split, I can't. It's like my hands hurt.
Have you seen Aaron Powell's totally split keyboard, where he's got the keyboard broken in half, and it's like 2 individual pieces?
Oh yeah, that is pretty cool. That feels a little extreme to me, however.
It is. I would never go down with that. I like my mechanical keyboards. I was a bit concerned about the raised profile, but I got used to that, and it doesn't give me any wrist problems.
Here, you want to see my desk? You guys tell me what you think.
Oh, look at that. He took a picture of it.
No.
Can you start a sandbox? The sandbox in the sandbox? No, I don't think you can do a sandbox in the sandbox.
See?
Oh, look at that. Live streaming to you.
Yeah. See?
I don't think you have enough monitors over there. You need more.
Well, I'll tell you what. For a long time, I had 2, and then I switched to 4. I switched to 4 because I brought all my stuff home, and now I've gotten so used to it, I can't give it up.
I know. I think you have more space at the top. You can put more at the top. You can stack them up. Remember the movie Swordfish? You should be like that. You remember when he's hacking at his guest's house?
For B2C, how do individual users go to a site and create accounts using Microsoft Identity? For an ASP.NET Core app, do you have a sample app to see how that works?
Yeah.
So all of the users get created. They create themselves through B2C.
Yeah, sign
so
up.
Instead of they do it through a sign up flow in B2C. They don't sign up directly in the app. I was looking at the features to be able to like install Windows Sandbox on here, which I feel like we probably can't do, but it keeps on closing settings. Anyway, all right. So anyway, thanks, Stefan. I don't know how to say it. Thanks for the tip. We will
continue working on that app, and now that we don't have to hack the permissions, it should be a lot more straightforward.
Yeah, so now we're here, which is great, and we'll use Graph and get this all sorted.
Yes.
Okay. So other things. So we talked last week or earlier this week about B2C.
Yes.
B2C custom domains was something that was not. You know what, Hector? Let's. I'm going to show you very quickly. The B2C thing, and then that way, and then we'll take a quick break and we'll come back. Okay. So in your B2C itself, if I can find a window here where it's up, the policies or the user flows you create out of the box have a sign up, sign in thing. So they'll handle both sign up and sign in. So in B2C, we've got user flows. If I look at this user flow here, you'll notice most of these are called SUSE for sign up and sign in.
Disabled says. Why is it disabled? Oh, the conditional access.
Conditional access.
Sorry.
So I'll just use this one called rec, which is just a recommended one. There's nothing much there.
Or recreational, whatever you.
Or recreational sign up.
For fun, yeah.
In your .NET app, you'll have to set the sign up, sign in policy. It's one of the settings that's in the thing. So if we do like a .NET new, web app, and then
B2C individual.
Yeah, individual B2C.
Yeah.
One of the settings in there is going to be sign up, sign in. It'll be called sign up, sign in policy, or sign in, sign up policy ID. And that's where you'll put in something like this, like whatever the name of your user flow is. So when we run the user flow, which running it in here is the same as running it, is what your users are going to see when they click a login button or whatever. Somehow authentication is triggered inside of your app. You come here to whatever your thing is, and they can sign up. So I can sign in, or click sign up now, and sign up will take me here. So if I did like something at mailinator.com, gave it a password, and then delete me, hello, okay, and then create. Now I'm going to get taken over to the app. Your app, which this is just like a sample app, your app doesn't. The only way that it knows that I'm a new user would be if you included a claim called user is new or new user. Because if you look at this set of claims that are here, if I go and sign in again with the same account, you're going to get the exact same set of claims in your app. So your app isn't going to have to distinguish anything for a user. If you wanted to separate them and have a sign up that happens independently of a sign in, you can do that. You can create a sign up only policy, and then you just have a link to take the user over there. So, but all of the mechanics of creating the user and validating their email address and capturing extra information from them, all that kind of like their name, first name, last name, emails, whatever, all that happens in B2C, so you don't have to do any of that work yourself. Okay, so this is Bolt's
setup.
Friday setup. Look at that. I love that.
Is that monitor wide enough? I am worried. He needs more wideness.
Just remind me to never ask you to share your screen with me in Teams. Because I'll get a sliver in the middle. That's
a challenge, man. The widescreens are awesome, but they don't work well with. That's another reason why I use my top monitor for sharing during meetings, because the widescreen is awful, and you need a 16:9 monitor, and the vertical doesn't work either.
I like the shape of the desk. That's cool.
I like the verticality of everything. Everything is vertical in Bolt's house.
What is What is this thing behind your screen? What is that little thing over there behind your laptop?
Is that clock?
Because it looks like a screen, but it has lights at the bottom. What is that? I'm so curious now.
Alarm clock.
An electric meter. Oh, interesting. So
the
power
ones
your desk is pulling?
Or the ones that have the cables and they can do some testing on the current. Tells me how much electric and gas. Oh, it's like monitoring in real time what he's doing. Yeah.
So Sahil, you could install visuals. Anyway, I give it a 14 out of 10. Bolt.
For JP, everything is 14 out of 10.
I like it.
Yeah.
We've seen 2, and I think 2 of them are fantastic. So I like them both.
It's definitely clean. I like it too. Yeah.
Windows
All the wired.
Windows Sandbox is part of Windows. It's part of Windows 10, and if you go into Windows features, you have to install it or enable it first. However, it is pure.
Whoa! Rockstar is coming.
What's up?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah.
Welcome, friends.
It is free real estate. I love that meme. Hey,
nice.
What were you working on today? What were you working on today, Rockstar?
Well, Rockstar is living the dream, man. He moved to Thailand, and he's roaming there, and he's working there. He's building his startup actually, and I think his current project is something about taking content from tweets and putting it into Discord or the other way around. Can't remember, but yeah, he's having fun. Startup stuff is, as always, today we separate the front end from the back end. Very nice. Putting into TikTok. Getting stuff from where to TikTok?
So from Twitch to TikTok. Very nice.
From Twitch to TikTok. Yes. That was his tool. We have to awesome. We have to take a look at that. Are you using Azure? Are you guys using Azure?
Clipbot.tv.
Everybody go and check clipbot.tv.
Let's go check. You can grow your stream in your sleep. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there's lots.
But you have to have clips, right? That's the other thing. You have to work on the clips to. I like the GIFs on the pricing.
See, okay, you know what? While you're here, I'm glad you're here. I've noticed that nobody takes into account the fact that we have high resolution monitors now. So this is at 0%, or this is at 100% zoom, and there's just this little tiny sliver in the middle. I have to zoom.
Yes, we had the same problem with our website. Remember that we had to ask our software developers to actually adjust to 4K monitors, because I have a 4K monitor. Everybody has a 4K monitor. Yeah.
Binoculars.
So.
So what I've done is I found a really cool extension called To the Bourgeois.
You're right, Rockstar. Yeah, it's Seize the Music Productions. Yeah, we're probably too far out there in terms of hardware.
It was like $200 on Amazon. Okay, I mean it certainly wasn't like these giant 59-inch wide, ultra wide, curvy things that everybody else seems to have. I mean, I'm just cheap. And it was cheap. It was on sale. It was like Black Friday sale. So anyway, so I've been using this thing called Stylebot, which I actually quite like, because you can come into a specific site and you can find something, and you tend to find whatever the
still the CSS.
Yeah, you tend to find whatever the main container is, and then you go fix the CSS. So
you fix the CSS, right?
You remember that thing called Hey? That web app called Hey?
Is that still around?
It is, and when you open your email, you get a nice little sliver in the middle. So what we could do, let's see. Header spacer, div class, divider wave.
Oh, he said he used a landing page builder, so he didn't actually build any of that. He used a template. Clever.
There you go.
No, we're not gonna fight you. That's the clever way to go, man. Why spend time on it when you can use somebody else's tools?
100%. So anyway, but so this neat little tool. We'll start at Hero. This neat little tool lets you essentially inject custom styles. I guess you used to be able to do that in Firefox or Chrome or whatever. So we could do like I love these prefixed things. Let's change the max width to 200 VWs.
I wonder if it's using the new CSS framework that everybody's upset about.
Oh, Tailwind?
Yeah, man. I tried to use it, and to be honest, it doesn't compare with Bootstrap. Like, their documentation was thin.
I think their opinions on how they work are different.
Okay.
But at any rate, it seems like a really cool. It really seems like a cool
idea.
Tool. So
yeah.
So I'll just make sure I zoom in whenever I go to the website. So anyway, yeah. So go check out Rockstar's clipbot.tv. So I think it looks really cool.
Yes, please check it out and check our very very good friend Rockstar. He's fantastic at streaming, and we'll be actually working more together in the future. We just need to get our ducks in a row. And then you'll be seeing more collaboration with us and Rockstar. And yeah, make sure you follow the guy. I like his streams. He's always energetic. DM me. Man, you know it. As soon as I have the go-ahead, we're definitely DMing you. I promised you that, right? You've been promising me. Hey, it's not empty promises. I'm telling you, if it was down to me, I would do it. It's just we're in a funny situation right now with our team, so hold on tight. It's gonna happen. Headphones warning. Why? Don't worry. I'm waiting for your promise.
I hit the air horn and it was clearly too high.
Oh. I think
collab with a rapper or collab with two middle-aged white guys. I mean,
yeah. I mean, what is more exciting?
I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard you get enough drinks in Christos and he becomes a rapper. So I don't know. Sort of a Greek Scottish rapper thing, which I think, I mean, that's a niche that we need to fill.
More like doing impersonations of Backstreet Boys, I would say. That's where my niche is.
Which one? Because
rapping, yeah, that's my niche. A Scottish version of Backstreet Boys. How about that?
Oh, well, thanks for coming in, Rockstar, and thanks for bringing.
Yeah, man, and friends, obviously.
And friends. I think we're gonna be. Sadly, we're not building something cool like Clip Talk. We're figuring out how to make identity things do things that they're not supposed to do.
Well, we're more about security, right, and not breaking your codes or your customers' data, right? Yeah. So I think we answered the question that was asked by Hector. And Hector, if you need more help, reach out on Discord. We're more than happy to help you there. But your users are managed by B2C, and if they do a sign up, then that's it. They create an account, and then it's available to your application, whatever your app is.
So then Enzo mentioned magic links and ID token hint. We will definitely do that at some point we'll do that in the next couple of weeks, because that's we've actually had something recently about this. Bolt asked about installing Visual Studio in Sandbox. You can, but as soon as you close the Sandbox, the whole thing goes away. When we did when we were building the apps with Fox Pro a while back, we used Sandbox to install that. So
we still haven't built something with Fox Pro, by the way. We need to build a desktop app with Fox Pro and Microsoft Identity.
I'm not going to build it. We're not going to build a desktop app with Fox Pro.
Why?
I'm going to call the auth team and say, hey, I really need a Fox Pro auth library.
A Fox Pro SDK. A Fox Pro SDK. There must be an open source OpenID Connect Fox Pro package, right?
I need you to get on it. Anyway, okay. So we're going to take a quick break, but this is what we're going to come back to. Tuesday, we were working on proxying or doing B2C custom domains, so login.yourcompany.com, login.clipbot.tv, whatever. Yes. We're working on doing custom domains with B2C. Right now, you can only do that with Front Door, and the question was asked of, well, I don't want to use Front Door, I want to use Cloudflare or something different. We did that Tuesday, and we waited forever for DNS to fix and replicate and whatever, and it still didn't work then, so we've got some other avenues to explore, which we're going to do here in just a minute. But for the moment, we're going to take a quick break, play some music, and refill your cups, and we'll be back in less than 5 minutes. We'll say
it's going to be 2.5 minutes because that's the loop for the song. So how about that?
Yeah. So we'll see you in 2 minutes.
Right.
Okay, so earlier this week, we were looking at custom domains for B2C.
Yes.
Because, and I've got one that is using that today.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's using it with Front Door, which is a sort of standard supported way to do it. But as we all know, the standard supported way to do things is not the fun way to do things. So instead, we've been trying to do it with Cloudflare or other proxies of your own choosing. So
yeah, so Front Door, for those that don't know, it's an Azure service that allows you to proxy into other services.
Yeah,
it's our proxy. Yes.
And as Bolt says, and as we've heard repeatedly, it is definitely not the cheapest.
Correct.
And I just want to say too, give a shout out to Bolt, because when Bolt speaks, either in Discord or in the chat, you should listen, because Bolt knows what he's doing, and he's been super, super helpful to us, and he helps everybody out in the chat and the Discord all the time too, which is awesome. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, he's an awesome member of the community. We wouldn't be here without him.
If there is an adult here that you should listen to, it is Bolt. The rest of us are merely children in a giant clown car. So thank you, Bolt. Hey, Gruff. Gruff has arrived as well.
Run. Welcome.
So with custom domains, we can do fun things like instead of jpdab2c.b2clogin.com, which is a mouthful and awful thing to say, instead, we can use my custom domain like who.b2c.wtf, right?
Uh-huh.
And if we took that and we take it over here and sign in with it, here we get the same sign in. So if you didn't want Microsoft branding or anything Microsoft related in your URL, you could do that, right?
Yes.
And this goes through Front Door, so it works. Of course, the problem, of course, is people don't want to use Front Door. So that got us thinking of, well, how could we do it?
Mm-hmm.
In our Front Door
config,
on
Tuesday, we set up Cloudflare. Right. So if people want to go and look at how we set everything up so far, they can go to our YouTube channel and look at Tuesday's episode.
Yep. So I think, do we have a Bang YouTube in here? We do.
We do, yes.
The thing is,
and subscribe.
The Front Door config to make this work is essentially completely standard. You don't make any changes. You don't do any extra rules. You don't do anything in here in Front Door to make this work with B2C. It just works, kind of a thing. You set it up just like you'd set up any other site that you wanted to proxy through Front Door. And of course, you have to go into B2C and tell it what your new domain is, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
And then everything just works. Actually, in fact, one thing that's worth showing in here that works is if we go and sign in, which I'm going to go ahead and do, we get signed in. You'll notice as well, because we came to this endpoint, you'll notice that's also the issuer value. So the issuer value gets updated as well, which is key.
Interesting.
So your apps need to understand what this issuer is, and they would, because that's what the metadata is going to be the same too.
Yeah.
In the metadata, this is going to show up as the issuer.
Yes.
So when you
but
use
that should be transparent. That should be transparent if you are using, say, Microsoft.web, right?
Yeah, if you're using any OpenID Connect library, that should be transparent because it's going to go pull metadata from the
right
endpoint. So if you're using this endpoint to sign people in, your custom domain, then your metadata endpoint should reflect that and be fine.
Yep.
If we look at the metadata for this one, if we open this metadata and look at it, this is not using the custom domain, and you'll notice the issuer is the normal one. But if we change the metadata to use the who.b2c.wtf, then
is it who or WT? Oh, it's who. Okay. Yes.
Then now our issuer changes, our authorization endpoint changes, all the metadata changes to be the correct place.
Very nice.
And all we did was add a custom domain to Azure AD and set up Front Door. And Front Door, we just used bog standard stuff. Nothing exciting. However, with Cloudflare, I could not get things working with Cloudflare after the DNS change. And so my thought was, well, let me try it with like Nginx first. Because at least Nginx, I could do a local Nginx, no sweat, everything works, right?
Yep.
No. I wish we could change the B2C config to have a different verified domain endpoint URL. What do you mean, Bolt?
Well, it says I had to manually update the .b2clogin.com.
I see what you mean, like in testing and stuff. Yes, I agree. Having to go and manually change a big, huge URL sucks.
Yep.
Okay. So the one that we're working on, we're calling id.ief.wtf. That's the name of our domain. That's our custom domain that we want to use on our other one.
Yep.
So I'll zoom these in a little bit. So we've got our, what is it, Shift Alt left. There we go. So we have our Nginx config here. Server name IDIEF WTF. For that location, I've got the debug log turned on, which is over here in this other pane, so we can go take a look at it. But proxy pass is just going to proxy over to our actual B2C name, right? Nothing too exciting there. And then I've been experimenting with different headers, and this is where it's gotten really, really sort of frustrating. So,
Harry. Yep.
So let's get a browser up over here, and let's just try to go to that URL that we went to last time, which was aka.ms 425 show IEFWTF. Now, in its current state, we get a login. Great. And we get a custom domain. Also great.
Very nice. Okay.
However, when we sign in,
it doesn't change the issuer.
It doesn't change the issuer. And what's so... There are other side effects to this too. So you notice we still have the old issuer because essentially it feels like it's the same. What that also means is that our metadata is going to be incorrect because our issuer is going to be incorrect in your app.
Yep.
So while it works in the sense that you can use the custom domain to access it, it doesn't actually work in the sense that it's not actually triggering B2C to make any changes. There's another change that's important too. So you'll notice this proxy cookie domain directive that's in our Nginx config. We have to use that because the cookies that get issued from B2C, of course, are being issued with the root, with the normal name.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that in front door.
Front door.
And my suspicion is that there is a special header that's being sent over somewhere in front door in order to make this work.
To trigger it. Right.
So now I'm at the point of
testing different things.
Yeah. Now we're to the point of guessing, essentially, what those headers could be in order for that to work. And I've gone through a few permutations, but I haven't actually figured it out just yet. So the other thing is, if we go to
Wait
the
a minute.
door...
Can front door provide any logs about incoming, outgoing requests and what is sent?
I have looked, and I have not yet figured that out.
So there's no way to debug front door, in other words.
Well, yeah, right now it looks like the debugging is pretty minimal. But if you look at the B2C doc on setting this up with custom domains, if we zoom in really close here, you'll see your user goes to login.contoso.com, blah blah blah. The DNS gets resolved. DNS gets resolved to front door. Front door makes a call, and it just says HTTP header. It doesn't say what the header name is.
Which header?
So we know that there's a lot of information that's derived from a specific header. And whatever that specific header is, that's what causes B2C to change its behavior.
Right.
Now, so far as I can tell, the standard headers don't work. And we're going to try a few of them and see. But sadly, I believe, I have a suspicion, I should say, it's probably a magic header name. There's
an internal header that we don't expose anywhere.
Yep. So if we go look at the docs for front door's docs tell us front door to back end. They tell us exactly. The headers that they send. So my first thought is, well, let's just copy them.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to put this up here.
You might want to close one of the windows. The tabs, sorry.
Let's just do this. Clear. SSA. I'll just open it up again.
Yep.
So Etsy. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Etsy, Nginx, sites available, B2C, I think is what I've called it. Yeah. And yeah, I'm already editing it somewhere else. Okay. So let's just add the ones that they have. So we have via, so proxy set header via, and then the value is 1.1 Azure. Okay. I guess I should try to make them look at least a little bit closer to what the other ones look like. Okay. And then we've got X. So then we
X
have
Azure
Proxy,
client IP.
Set header X Azure client. Oh, we've already got this one in here. It's at the bottom, but I'm going to put it up here anyway. Client IP, and the client IP is the remote address of the user, right? Of the user who's coming in.
Yep.
So then we have proxy set header, and then we have X. What is that? Azure sockets IP.
Same, I guess.
It's still just going to be remote address.
Yep.
Okay, and then proxy set header X
Azure dash ref.
And that's just what, a string?
Yeah, it needs to be a unique identifier. Get a GUID. GUID, GUID. PowerShell.
I'm just going to put whatever in there for now. I mean, presumably, I can't imagine somebody's checking that header, but I mean, they might be. Sure. We'll come back to that one. So then we've got, let's see,
Azure dash request chain.
If anybody knows a good way to copy these lines in Nano too, because I'm not like some sort of wizard with text editors. So we have what, X? Oh, here comes my little one. Request chain.
And then that requires hops equals 1.
We'll just set hops equals 1. It says it's internal and we shouldn't take a dependency on it. So
should that not be in quotes?
You got a balloon.
Daddy, we got my dinosaur cake.
A dinosaur cake too for your birthday.
For my birthday.
All right, cool. All right, well, can I work for a little bit? Then I'll come up and look at your cake. Yeah, gotta work for a little bit. Okay, so where were we? X Azure FDID. Yeah, somebody's turning 3 this weekend. I'm very excited about it. So we've got our FDID, which is our, presumably that's our front door ID. Somebody you want to go generate a GUID, or I guess I can go do one, but I'll just use the one they've got and change the last letter so that it's not the one from the
as Hasselman says GUIDs are fake.
So then we've got X forwarded 4, and that's the originating IP. So we've got X forwarded 4 right here. Cool.
Remote address, yeah.
We've got X forwarded host, which is the original host, and this is what front door is going to send. So that's X forwarded host. We've got that one here.
Okay.
I added one called X forward host, thinking that because I'd seen that in some reverse proxies send forward instead of forwarded, but we'll take that one out for now. So then we've got proxy set header X forwarded proto, and we'll just do HTTP. I mean, I'm sure we can get this. What is it? Is it Scheme? There's an Nginx thing here. I think it might be called Scheme.
Okay.
We'll go back and check. And then we actually don't have a forwarded port, it doesn't look like, in the front door one, so we'll take that out. And
you have an FDID.
And then we have just FD. Well, we already had that one. So what's interesting is this one's listed twice. X Azure FDID, a reference string that identifies the request came from a specific instance for doing IP ACLs. But then...
And then at the bottom says...
This field contains the front door ID that can be used to identify which one it came from. So I guess... I mean, it seems like they both split out the same data. They both generate the same data.
Okay. So what's new here? I think it's only we added client IP, socket IP, and ref, right? And request chain.
And via.
And via.
Via. I don't know how to use that. Okay. So, okay.
Moment of truth. Save.
All right. So we'll write this out. Let me go back to my other one because I've already got my commands here. So we'll restart Nginx. And then we're going to fire up a...
browser.
id.ief.wtf. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So let's go here.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so we got this. So let's sign in. And...
Oh. What happened?
Nope.
Nah. It doesn't trigger it.
So this is the debug log from Nginx, by the way.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We think we have to use a front door, and there's no way to trick B2C into trusting any other proxies.
Yeah, so because if you look at the docs, you can still use things like Cloudflare and whatever. You can still use that, but you put those in front of front door.
Yeah.
So then you're hopping from front door or from your thing to front door to something else. All right, Gruff
Which defies the whole purpose, right? If you need to have to use front door anyway, then why would you need another proxy?
Okay, custom domain.
Oh, there's a bug. Grump says there's a bug somewhere on GitHub that has been raised.
So let's see. The header that is mentioned in the overview is not the host header. It's a custom one, X forwarded host.
That's the one we have, right?
Step 4 states, request to the AAD B2C endpoint includes a custom HTTP header that includes the original custom domain name. Yet, create a new Azure Front Door instance shows a backend host header matching the B2C login domain. Should the backend host header be the custom domain or the original B2C login? And then they say the doc is correct. Both the backend host name and the backend host header should be the same. This is the default behavior. The default value for the host header field is the host name of the backend. That sentence says nothing, by the way. This is like when an attorney says, "So when did you stop beating your wife?" You're like, "Wait a minute, what? I never said I did. What are you talking about?" That's the way this sentence reads. Both the backend host name and the backend host header should be the same. The default value for the host header field is the host name of the backend. So what's the article that this article I believe is? I wish these things had a link to the actual article that they were updating. You know what I mean?
I think they're linked somehow. If you're
here, it is. Here it is. It's right here. It's right here. Sorry. So, okay. So add a custom domain name to your tenant. Of course, we did that. Create a new Azure Front Door instance. We did that. So we add a front end host, and the front end, we just add the host, and it's whatever name you'd give it .azurefd.net. Fine.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you CNAME with a custom domain if you want to use one.
Mm-hmm.
So then you add a backend. The backend that you add to the pool is your backend, which is what we have in our proxy paths, right?
Yeah.
It's HTTP. Oh, those are health probes. Okay. This is a custom host. It's your regular B2C login thing. Your backend host header, it says select the same value you selected for backend host name.
Which is exactly the same as above.
So the backend host name is that. The backend host header is
the original one.
But okay. But in that case, I don't see how, at that point, how are we ever triggering that to change? You know what I mean? Okay, so it's saying that the X forwarded host is the backend host header, and I'll just put the name in here for the moment. Umbrella.
Mm-hmm. You don't need quotes for that?
B2C. I don't know if I do or not. I don't know enough about these config files. So umbrellab2clogin.com. All right. So we got that up. Let me restart. Let's restart this again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
try
clear and let's tail again. So we'll tail our debug log. All right, we're gonna go try it again. So we're gonna get signed in here. Okay.
I see the right URL for now. Oh.
Still the wrong issuer. And which I think I would expect it to be the wrong issuer. Because if we're never sending in the host that we're using, the custom domain host, if we never send that along, then how would B2C know, right?
Yes.
So like, I'm trying to find I know in the debug log it has the headers. It just sucks because there's like so much logging. Okay. So the X-forwarded for, those are all the ones that we had in via blah, blah, blah. So here's our X-forwarded host, which is Umbrella B2C, the one that we typed in. Our X-forwarded protocol is HTTPS. Our host is Umbrella B2C.B2C login. I mean, should our I can't imagine our host would need to match. Because the host is what we're requesting from.
Exactly.
I mean,
you need to have some way to signify that it is just coming from a different
I
domain.
guess we could try setting the host. I just don't see how that's going to work. That feels very backwards to me. It feels like you'd want to set the forwarded host as like, hey, this is what the customer asked for. This is what the requester asked for.
Yes.
As opposed to setting the actual host, because I don't know how the actual host would even work in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't. So that totally bombs. So we can't set the host there. That just totally blows up. Now, which... So hang on. So if I set that host, it can't be the host. That just doesn't make sense. I think that would be like the opposite of intuitive. If we set the host to the host that it's got to be the forwarded host, which would be id.ief.wtf. Which we should get out of the host anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know, man. I think front door is doing something that it's not documented, and
there's got to be some magic string in there,
and then we can't see the traffic going in and out between the two systems.
Or like what you and Bolt mentioned a minute ago, which is it could be. Oh wait, that's not the right one. ID. There we go. It could also be that there's something to do with the Azure network itself. And that it's coming from a known IP range or from a known Azure IP range or something. Because like it's just, it says X-forwarded host is the only thing that matters, but I guess I just don't believe that. I just don't. Yeah, I don't believe it. Because I don't see how. Let's see if I can find some headers somewhere in here. I wish you could debug just give me headers. I don't see how that it would work. Because we have all the other same headers you'd have coming from front door. So I did think about this a little bit ago, and I turned on diagnostic logging for my front door instance that is working today to see if we could find the logs. However, the logs that we get, I don't believe have that level of detail. So if we look at the logs here, we'll just close this. Diagnostic settings. This is my front door instance for the other one, the actual one that's using front door. So we've got this front door access log, right? So if we go into the logs for front door access log, we have Azure Activity, Azure Diagnostics, and Azure Metrics. Azure Activity is empty. No results.
Yeah,
right?
That's not good.
Azure Diagnostics, however, this is the thing that should have our data in it, our request data in it. So look at the last 24 hours. We have 97 records, right? I'm going to have to unzoom this just a little bit because I can't see anything. So if we start looking into these, like what time is it now? It's 12:30. So we logged into that a few minutes ago, which probably would have been about... So these were 4 a.m. UTC, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8:27, 4:30 p.m. That probably would have been about right. I need them without. Who is there? Anybody? Are you a Custo wizard?
No, no. I've managed to scrape through 5 years of Microsoft without touching Kusto.
So I want to get them where the HTTP status code is not 404. Oh, okay, just not equals 404. Let's see if this works. Okay, so these should be non-404, 26 records, that's good. So let's look at 4:11 p.m. So this is our sign-in, but we don't, we get to use, like, it's almost like we get the logs of the people who are coming to the front door, but we don't actually get the logs that go from front door
to the backend service, which it's annoying, by the way, because you might want to see what's happening there.
So Bolt says maybe if it had a real front door ID and key in the header, it will look it up and trust the sender. That's possible. I suppose I could use the front door ID that I have here.
That's a good point.
Since we do have a front door that works, I suppose we could use that. Now, let me see. Where on earth are we going to find that ID?
Oh, you already had it, didn't you?
I don't think I have the ID. Oh, there it is, the front door ID. So I'm just an idiot.
There you go.
Okay. So let's go look at the front door ID. We'll put that one in here. Let's see. FDID, cool. We'll put this here. Bang. Write these out. And then we'll go restart. And we'll go do this. I'll go try again. I'm losing confidence rather rapidly.
Yeah.
But at any rate, even if we were to find the magic string that made this work, you probably don't want to do this. B2C doesn't know what it,
yeah.
B2C doesn't know what you're doing. Clearly it's expecting something front door specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, still nothing here. And Bolt's right. It could also be expecting to come from a known Azure IP. Like, I don't know if front door has IP ranges for its back ends like that. But if it does, it could be looking at IP ranges. It could be saying, is this just an Azure IP? There are probably all sorts of. It sounds like there's a whole lot more logic there than we were expecting. So at any rate, XBob, I'm sorry to say, as of right now, I feel defeated in that I'm not going to be able to guess the magic string that's required to make this work. So we will continue to beat the drum internally that front door is too expensive and we need alternatives. But in the interim, if you want a custom domain, front door looks like it is the only way to do it. The only way to reliably do it.
Yes.
Because presumably, if we had found the right header, we also wouldn't need this proxy cookie domain here either. Can you specify an OpenID config URL and MSAL separate to the other gunk? You can't. With MSAL specifically, I don't think so, but with an ASP.NET, absolutely. Mm-hmm. ASP.NET is just a straight up OpenID thing. So, in theory, you could proxy that. That's true. And you could get really creative with your proxying to proxy the, to find and replace in the OpenID Connect metadata document.
Yeah, although that would be ugly to maintain and manage. So I don't know if you want to do that in code.
Or you know, if you're gonna change it and keep it the same for a long time, you could have static metadata somewhere, but your keys are gonna change. Granted, those come from a different URL.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could do that. Although the issuer is always going to be the same. And you can't modify the issuer. Like when the issuer comes back in the token, if you try to modify the token to change the issuer,
it would break, right?
The signature is going to break, so that's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially do. You probably could get away with most of it configured this way. So if we did ID, IEF, and if we did, let's see, what is the name of this one? B2C1 Susie. If we were to do the metadata URL here, so let's see here, and then dot well-known OpenID configuration. I don't have the right path, but whatever. OAuth 2. Is this the right one? No. I don't remember exactly what it is, but your metadata, because to B2C, you're still coming from the normal one, your metadata is still going to reflect as if you were coming from the normal one, right? So, like, none of that's going to change, meaning you'd redirect a user to a vanity domain, but you would end up still trusting all of the default B2C stuff in your code. So in .NET, you could override the challenge to change the URL. That might be one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else would just work. So you'd have to change your challenge async in that call, or on redirect to identity provider, you'd have to change it there in that code to say swap the root host from my DNS, or from the default one to the one that I want to go to send users to. Which at that point, is it worth the engineering headache of standing up Nginx somewhere and doing all that, or just paying front door? Now, I also don't know how expensive front door is, so. Do you know how expensive it is?
I have no idea. I haven't really used the cost calculator for that because I haven't had the need to use it yet.
This is an ad. There we go. Front door pricing. Yeah. Oh, these are... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is standard and premium, which is in preview. So let's just go look at normal ones.
Yep.
Ooh, 17 cents a gig of transfer? That is a little pricey, not gonna lie.
That is pricing.
17 cents per gig. And look at that, 50 cents a gig to South America. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit more expensive than I thought it would be. That's a lot.
That is steep.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the thing is about that, so Bolt says that front door has a WAF, which front door does have a WAF. What's curious about that, however, is in the docs, it tells you that we can't guarantee the WAF is going to work. But generally speaking, there's DDoS, and there are lots of different protections built into B2C, so you likely wouldn't necessarily need a WAF on B2C itself. Maybe on your app or whatever, but not necessarily on B2C directly would you necessarily need to have a WAF. So anyway, so yeah, it's kind of disappointing. I spent some time on it yesterday trying to get it sorted and couldn't guess the header, and then today thought, well, let's go see. So yeah, net result is you have to use front door if you want to use front door.
Yep. Bad news,
Anyway.
but there's a solution. It's bad news. It's not the cheapest, especially considering that you can get B2C for free for the first 50,000 users, but having a custom domain will probably cost you a penny for those 50,000 users. So,
yep. So
penny or a cent.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So we had some other stuff on the issuer validators and stuff, but I think we'll catch up on that next
Tuesday.
week.
Yes.
It is Friday. It's 12:40. Time for lunch. So.
Or it's the end of the day in some parts of the world, so you might as well call it a day.
That's true. You should raise a glass and end your day on a high note.
This is no water. This is just vodka. We started closing the day early. No, please don't drink. I'm just kidding. It's water.
So thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. I'm glad we could at least bring some closure to a few of these questions that we've got going on, and now we've got work to do now that we have a calendar with a graph endpoint we can actually call.
Yes.
We got to look at Azure AD issuer validators next week. If you're doing multi-tenant apps and want to restrict the tenancy, we actually found some interesting ways to do that, and some interesting bugs that we need to get sorted. So we're going to do that. Christos has still got his Next.js stuff, and he's got some cool Python stuff to show us.
Yes.
So for now, it's time for us to get out of here. InstaFluff is streaming. Should we go over, take the whole show and go over there with him?
It is the most chill stream that you can get on a Friday morning or a Friday afternoon. So I would say InstaFluff is the go-to person.
All right, well, let's go hang out with our buddy InstaFluff. Join us on Discord. Come hang out with us, and we will see everybody on
Tuesday.
You all on Tuesday. So
yes, take care.